Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I am your host, Respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. You guys, it all starts from within. And if you do not feel right from within, you are going to attract chaos in your love life. I can assure you of that. So if you're curious at all about coaching, please hit the Stan Store link in my bio or in the episode description where you can book a free discovery call with me to see if an 8-week transformation progress is your vibe, or you can just book a one-on-one call with me. I have a 30-minute session and an hour session available. So whatever you think is better for your situation, we can chat about it. If you have been listening to this and you have not yet done so, please hit that 5-star rating, turn on your bell notification so you'll never miss another episode, hit that subscribe button. I would truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it. 2024, we are trying to grow quite a bit here, so please, if you could, share some love, because I can promise you all the love that you give out is going to come right back around to you. Without further ado, first episode of 2024. You guys, welcome. We made it. Finally, fuck that last year, because what the fuck was that all about, right? Am I right? Chaos last year. I'm really hoping this year is much better because fuck. How to know if they are the one. This could go anyway. So if you're a guy listening to this, if you're a girl listening to this, these are some questions that you want to ask yourself, or you're like on the border of teetering between like, is this my person? Is this not my person? Here's some questions to help clarify. And if you're really just like not in a relationship at all right now, you're not entertaining anyone, maybe save these questions, save it on the notes app on your phone, save this video, send it to a friend if they're dealing with these things, because these are some actual real ass questions that you can ask yourself to see if this person long-term is going to be a good fit for you. Because I think a lot of times we, especially as women, we will try to convince ourselves that that person is so our person. They're just like not, they're missing the mark, really. It feels like you want that to be your person and you're forcing the pieces in order for that to be your person. And if this sounds like you, I need you to be honest with yourself during these questions as they're being asked. How do you truly feel inside? And maybe write them down as this episode is transpiring. But there's 5 questions. And I actually, to be honest with you guys, I didn't come up with these myself. I got these from a Reddit thread, which was actually posted on TikTok. I actually found it on TikTok. I actually don't do Reddit very much. I found these on TikTok and I thought they were very useful, valuable. So hopefully if you are questioning whether or not this is your person, these questions help out. Number 1, let's just dive right in, shall we? If someone told you you were a lot like your partner, would this be a compliment to you? I think this is such a good question, because if you really think about it, if that person is driving you fucking insane and that person and someone says, wow, you're so much like them, would that be like offensive to you? Or would you be like, you know what? Thank you. Like, that's such a compliment. If you look up to this person, you think highly of this person, you really feel good about them, you're going to answer like, oh my God, yes, thank you. That is such a compliment. But if you take it the opposite way, if they're driving you crazy, if there's things about them that you just are like getting under your skin and you're like, you cannot deal with anymore, you're going to take that offensively and really look at why that is. Probably not a good sign that that person is your person. Moving on to question number 2. Are you truly fulfilled or just less lonely? And I would even go as far as to say, I wrote these down verbatim, but I always say, is this person giving you intention, or is this person giving you attention? Or do you just like them because they are giving you the type of attention that you want? On the opposite side of that, if this is how you work, are you liking them because they're not giving you the full attention that you desire, and it's a chase for you and it's fun for you, and that's why you're attracted to them? Or are they intentionally investing in you, helping you grow, helping you become a better person, making you feel like your best self? Are they truly fulfilling you and adding to your life, or are they subtracting you, making you feel small? A lot of times, if they're not giving you attention, you're going to be questioning your worth of trying to prove your value to someone if you're really into that person and you won't let it go. And if this is the case, that's not your person, because your person's going to make you feel safe in the relationship, right? Like, I don't have to worry that that person's going to tomorrow decide that this isn't for them. I don't have to worry that they're entertaining someone else. I don't have to worry about anything, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that that person, I just have no worries. right? So which one is it? Do you just feel less lonely that this person's around and you're just entertaining this person because, you have nothing else, you have no one else right now at the time, and it just feels better than being lonely and it feels comfortable because you've known this person? Or are they actually investing in making you a better person and it feels good to be around them, right? Like, which one is it? This one might be tough to distinguish. This might be a journaling question, honestly, because if you're struggling with this, if you are unsure of which side it falls under, your gut knows, deep down. Sometimes we don't always want to admit this, but ask yourself that. Is this person truly fulfilling and filling up my cup, or are they taking away from me? And do I just feel less lonely when I'm with them because I have no other options? And if that's the case, you guys, it is so much better to be fucking lonely by yourself, because honestly, what really feels more lonely being with someone else than it does being by yourself. That's when you know something's off, and that's probably not your person. Moving on to number 3. Are you able to be unapologetically yourself, or do you feel the need to show up differently to please your partner? If you cannot be yourself around this person, if you are constantly on edge around this person, if you feel like you can't speak your mind around this person, if you feel like you can't fully be your weird and authentic self around this person, that is not your person. And sometimes those things grow over time. If it's in the very beginning and you're like, I can't be my full self yet, totally fine. But if you're in this, if you're months in this, if you're years in this, and you don't feel like you can fully like just let go, let loose, and be yourself, that is a huge problem. Because when you can't show up as yourself around the people that are closest to you, you are going to forget who you actually are. Do you ever come out of relationships and you feel like, wow, I have to relearn my full self? Like, I don't even know who I am. I know my last relationship, it took me a really long time. I took a year just to figure out who the fuck I was as a person, because I invested so much of myself into that person, and I never felt like I could fully be my full authentic self around him. Are you able to just unwind and just be who you are? You can show up no makeup on, you can show up as you are in any sense, just like being there. I know so many friends that are like, I can't even eat around this person. It's like, it makes me so uncomfortable. And if this is you are making this person out to be something like way up here. If you go on dates, for instance, and you feel like you're so nervous that you cannot be yourself, subconsciously, you're making this person out to be so much better than you are. First of all, no one's better than you. We are all on the same level playing field. If you're so anxious, so nervous about showing up on this date or showing up in front of someone else, there's something inside of you that like doesn't want to be seen, or you're scared to show this person your full self. Get secure on your own, because you're going to continue to show up and be anxious on edge and thinking that person is so much better than you, when really they're probably a little nervous themselves, right? Like, I think that's just the whole process of dating. Like, sometimes you're going to be nervous around people, and right away. Like, for me, I know right away, because if I go on a first date with someone and I feel like I have to, like, I'm scared of like what to say, I'm like trying to figure them out, trying to figure out their vibe first, and I'm very quiet, and I can't, like, I don't want to fully be myself. I know that person's probably not my person, because they're not making me feel comfortable enough to just like let loose and like be myself and speak my mind. Whereas I know if someone is more my energy, when I can fully just like sit back and we can like banter and just like fully be myself. I can talk about anything openly, because I know that person's not going to come to me with like a judgment type of energy. I think that's like the biggest thing too. But where are you? If you're like, I've been dating this guy for like 2 months and I feel like I can't be myself, that's a problem, right? Like, that might not be your person. I remember there was this one guy specifically that like really comes to mind. I used to see this guy, and the first time we met, it was like, whoa, like what the fuck was that connection? Like, that was so crazy. We vibed so hard the very first time, and we talked about so much shit, but we were also kind of like a little lit at the time, so it was like, okay, maybe that was the case. But then and then I became obsessed with it. This was years ago, right? Like years and years ago. But then after the fact, I was so like crazy, like, oh my god, this is my person, this has to be my person. But every single time we hung out after that, we were scared to talk to each other. Like, it was no one was conversating, trying to force a conversation. And there's nothing worse to me than trying to force a conversation. I crawl out of my skin. Okay. If I can't just like open up and say random shit that comes to my head, it's a problem. Okay. And that should have been my sign that like this isn't my person. But I felt so nervous, like I had to be something that I wasn't around him. Not the vibes, I can say that. Can you be your full self around them? That's what it comes down to. Number 4, are you in love with who your partner is right now as a whole, or are you only in love with their good side, their potential, or the idea of them? This one is so fucking huge, you guys, because I think as women we fall for the potential so fucking often. It's like, oh, this guy is so good on paper. He is going to make me feel so fulfilled. I'm going to be that bitch when I'm with him because he's successful, handsome, tall. Like, it's going to give me the image that I've also made it, right? Like, he is so good on paper, but he makes me feel like shit. That's a problem, okay? Because long term, those things aren't even gonna matter. You're gonna be stuck with this person that just makes you feel like you have to question yourself every single day. Is it really worth it at the end of the day if you have to question who you're with? A lot of times as women especially, and I think men do this too, but like we'll make excuses to the cows come home. We will make so many excuses for men. Oh, well, you know, he's just having a bad day. It's okay that he snapped at me like that because like he's just going through a lot of things right now. It's okay that he's not giving me a lot of attention. He has a lot going on right now. We will make excuses for them till the end of the day. And it's something that I started to have to implement in my own life because I would make excuses in the past for guys, right? But something that I had to implement was asking myself, if roles were reversed, would this person show up for me the same way as I'm doing for them? And if the answer is no, and I can say that with certainty, then I take 5 steps back because I'm not pouring more of myself into someone that's not giving me that type of energy. Falling for their potential is something that a lot of us will do. And I have a whole podcast episode. Go scroll back a little bit. It's Are You Falling for Their Potential? And I get fully into this. I'm not going to go too deep into this right now, but are you falling for the idea of them? Well, I've already made up in my head what our future would look like, so I don't feel comfortable breaking away from that idea because it's a really good future that from what I can see, but it might not. And honestly, life knows more than you what's going to be in your best interest. So if that person gets taken away from you, accept the fact that that was not your person right now, at least. Maybe they'll circle back around, maybe they won't, but accept the fact that something better or equal to that is going to be on its way. Life cannot take away something and have it not be replaced by something as good or better. Every time something is taken from you, something better is going to be replaced in its place. That is something that I live by. I really truly believe that. Last but finally, not least, would you want your future child or imaginary child to date someone like your partner? And I always say, not only just this, but would you want your future children to be like that person? Or would you want your future kids to have them as a parent? These are like 3 questions that are kind of all the same, but like also a little bit different. I kind of like my questions better than the Reddit questions, to be fair. And if you don't want children, okay, fine, let's just pretend here. This one gets me every time. This one I'll know right away. If you didn't know 1 through 4, asking your questions to yourself about your person, this one will get me every time. If I had a kid like this person, or if my child had them as a father, would I be okay with that? Because the last thing I want to do is give my children trauma from their parents that doesn't need to be there. What I really would love is for my children to have a loving and healthy relationship with their father and myself. If I am questioning whether or not my person that I'm dealing with can provide that to our children, I'm going to question the whole relationship because that is something that is huge for me. I do not want my kids to have daddy issues, okay? You cannot pick your father, but you can pick who your kid's father is. And that is something that hit me like a stone brick when I heard for the first time. I'm like, oh my God, I am not letting my kids relive any type of trauma or any type of anything, because I want them to have a healthy and loving upbringing, right? And if the person that I'm dealing with isn't giving me that, then they've got to go, because I'm not dealing with my kids not feeling loved or not feeling like they're enough as children and growing up with that mentality. If you're like, fuck, I would not allow my kids, my children, to date someone like this person, then you have your answer, right? It's just a matter of if you want to be honest with yourself. But if you're thinking like, oh my God, yeah, I would want them to date someone like this person, then you have your answer. Either way, I hope these questions brought you some clarity. Maybe you take something away from this video. I can guarantee you these questions are going to be useful at some point in your life. So save this video, send it to a friend who's dealing with like unsure, uneasy energy. Hopefully it helps them. But that is it for this week's episode. Again, if you could, please leave that 5-star rating if you got any type of value from this. Hit that subscribe, turn on your bell notification so you'll never miss another episode. And then I will see you all next Tuesday.